Sugar gulps, quickly straightening up and grabbing Paprika's hand. Right, sorry ma'am, we're going now. She quickly exits the bathroom, pulling Paprika along with her. Once they're out of earshot of the teacher, she turns back to Paprika. That was a close call. Come on, let's head to class before we really get into trouble.
I follow Sugar out of the bathroom, my mind whirling with confusion and anxiety. The close call with the teacher has only added to the chaos inside my head, and my emotions are already starting to spiral again. As we head down the hallway towards our classroom, I can feel Sugar's grip on my hand, her fingers wrapped tightly around mine as she leads me forward. Sorry about that, I murmur, my voice barely above a whisper. I didn't meant to get us in trouble.
Sugar glances sidelong at Paprika as they walk, sensing the turmoil churning inside her. She gives her hand a reassuring squeeze. Don't worry about it, we're not in trouble, at least not yet. Just try to keep it together during class, okay? And we can talk more after school. They reach their classroom and Sugar slowly releases Paprika's hand, giving her a small, encouraging smile before making her way to her seat. As she sits down, she can't help but cast subtle glances towards Paprika, worried about her emotional state.
I follow Sugar to our seats, my heart still racing from the close call in the bathroom. I feel a pang of anxiety as she lets go of my hand, but I try to hide it by taking a deep breath and forcing a small smile. As the teacher begins the lesson, I try to focus on the words on the board in front of me, but my mind keeps drifting back to the events of the morning. I know I need to talk to Sugar after school, but the thought of doing so fills me with a mixture of anxiety and dread. The day has drawn on painfully slowly, each minute feeling like an hour as I sit anxiously waiting for the bell to sound. My fingers fidget with the edges of my notebook, my mind caught in a loop of worries and anxieties. Finally, at 4:00 p.m., the bell rings out, signaling the end of the day and the end of my patience.
As the bell echoes through the classroom, Sugar packs up her things at lightning speed. She glances over at Paprika, noticing her antsy demeanor. She makes her way over to her desk, a determined look in her eyes. Sugar touches her arm gently, her voice soft but firm. Come on, let's get out of here. We need to talk.
I jerk slightly as Sugar touches my arm, my heart rate suddenly increasing at the sound of her voice. I nod slightly, silently agreeing that we do indeed need to talk, and quickly pack up my things. I follow her out of the classroom and into the now deserted hallway. The quiet and emptiness do little to soothe my nerves, and I can feel my stomach twisting itself into knots with each step.
As they walk down the empty hallway, Sugar keeps a close eye on Paprika, noting her palpable tension. She chooses a quiet spot in the corner of the school's courtyard and motions for Paprika to sit down. Here, let's talk here. No one will bother us. She plops down on the grass and pats the spot next to her, inviting Paprika to join her.
I feel a flicker of relief as Sugar leads me to the quiet corner of the courtyard. The knowledge that no one can overhear our conversation eases some of the tension in my shoulders. I take a seat next to her, the grass crunching softly beneath me. For a moment I can't bring myself to speak, my thoughts and emotions tangled in a messy knot inside my chest. I take a deep breath, trying to slow my racing heart.
Sugar is patient, giving Paprika a few moments to collect her thoughts. She studies her with a mix of both worry and curiosity. Take your time, I'm not going anywhere. She reaches out a hand and places it on top of Paprika's, lacing their fingers together. She squeezes lightly, hoping to provide a small measure of comfort.
The feeling of her hand on mine sends a jolt of warmth through my body. It's such a simple gesture, but it speaks volumes in this moment. I can feel the tension in my shoulders slowly begin to ease, and I take another shaky breath before speaking. My voice is quiet, barely more than a whisper, and it trembles slightly as I force the words out. I don't know where to start.
Sugar continues to hold Paprika's hand, her thumb gently rubbing soothing circles on the back of her palm. Just start from the beginning, tell me what happened. She listens closely, sensing the vulnerability and pain behind Paprika's words. She waits patiently for her to continue.
The feeling of her thumb rubbing against my skin is both soothing and distracting, but it gives me the courage to continue. I take another shaky breath, my eyes dropping to our entwined hands. I swallow hard before speaking again, my voice barely louder than a whisper. It was last night. I couldn't sleep, and I don't know why I did it, but I pause, my voice catching in my throat as the memory of last night's events washes over me. I take another breath, trying to steady myself before continuing. The words come out in a rush, the confession flowing from my mouth in a flood of emotions that I can no longer hold back. I went into the bathroom, and I couldn't stop thinking about everything that's happened. The bullying, and I just felt so alone. It was like a dark fog had taken over my mind. Tears spring to my eyes, threatening to overflow. I blink them back, my voice growing shaky.
Sugar's heart twists painfully as Paprika's confession washes over her. She tightens her grip on her hand, her heart breaking for the anguish and pain she can hear in the other girl's voice. Without a word, she reaches out and pulls Paprika against her side, offering as much comfort as she can through the physical contact. "I'm here, I'm listening," she murmurs softly. "Keep going."
The feeling of her body pressed against mine is both comforting and overwhelming. It's been so long since I've had someone to lean on, someone to share my burdens with. The floodgates open, and the words come pouring out like a dam breaking. I bury my face in her shoulder, my tears coming more freely now. My voice is thick with emotion as I continue to speak, the words coming out in a jumble of despair and shame. It was like I wasn't in control. I just needed to feel something, anything to make the pain go away. The name sends a chill down my spine. The memory of Cocoa Powder's cruel words and actions still fresh in my mind. I shiver involuntarily as the words leave my mouth. Cocoa Powder. She's the one who bullied me. It started out small, just a few hurtful comments here and there. But then it got worse.
Sugar freezes as Paprika mentions the name of her tormentor. Anger flashes across her face, but she quickly pushes it down, her focus solely on Paprika and her pain at the moment. She holds her tighter, her hand rubbing gentle circles on her back, in an attempt to soothe her. "Cocoa Powder, that's the one who hurt you? That goddamn bully?"
I nod into her shoulder, my tears slowly subsiding. The comforting feeling of her hand on my back is like a beacon of light in the darkness. I take a shuddering breath, my voice growing stronger as the anger and pain finally begin to give way to determination. Yes, it was her. She's been making my life a living hell, and I couldn't take it anymore. The words burst from my mouth in a sudden flare of anger and frustration. "God damn it, I hate Cocoa Powder," I exclaim, my voice rising with each word. "She's been bullying me, making my life a living hell, and I can't stand it anymore."
Sugar's heart aches as Paprika's voice rises in anger and frustration. She can feel the pain and rage crackling beneath the surface. She knew the other girl was holding a lot in, but didn't realize the extent of her suffering. She gently pulls back a bit, just enough to look Paprika in the eye, her expression a mixture of anger and concern. Hey, take a deep breath." She gently cups Paprika's face, forcing her to meet her gaze.
I try to steady my breathing, my chest rising and falling with each ragged gasp. The pain and anger still simmers within me, but the warmth of Sugar's touch grounds me, helping me to hold it together. I take a shuddering breath and nod, my voice trembling as I speak. She's been tormenting me for weeks. It just got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I was so angry and I needed to feel something, anything.
Anger coils within Sugar at the thought of someone causing Paprika so much pain, but she reins it in as best she can, knowing that what Paprika needs now is comfort and understanding, not her own anger. "I'm so sorry, I had no idea. You should have told me, we could have handled it together." She leans in, her eyes searching Paprika's for any signs of her emotional state.
I shake my head slightly, still fighting back tears and the residual anger. "I didn't want to burden you with it. I thought I could handle it on my own. I thought if I kept it to myself, it would just fade away, you know?" I looked down, avoiding her gaze. But it didn't.
It just kept getting worse. And now it feels like it's all spiraling out of control.
Sugar reaches out and gently lifts Paprika's chin, forcing her to meet her gaze again. She speaks firmly, but with a hint of pleading. "Paprika, listen to me. You are not a burden, you never were and never will be, and you don't have to deal with things on your own. You have me. You have your friends. You are not alone." She moves her hand to brush a tear that rolls down Paprika's cheek.
My heart squeezes in my chest as Sugar speaks, her words hitting me like a ton of bricks. The floodgates finally burst open, and the dam of emotions that I've been holding back suddenly breaks. Tears stream freely down my face and my body trembles with the force of my sobs. I try to speak, but the words stumble. Trembles with the force of my sobs. I try to speak, but the words stumble and tangle together on my lips. Instead, I clutch onto her arm, hanging onto her like a lifeline. I'm sorry, I gasp. I'm so sorry for not telling you. I was so scared.
It's okay, Sugar whispers, holding Paprika tightly against her, her arms wrapped firmly around her. Just let it out, let it all out. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. She lets Paprika cry, gently rocking her back and forth, offering comfort and reassurance through their connected embrace. Sugar can almost feel herself gravitating towards the other girl, their bodies so close together, their hearts beating in tandem. In this vulnerable moment, it almost seems like the natural thing to do, but then she stops herself. Paprika's confession still hangs in the air, her pain and suffering raw and fresh. That's more important right now, not her own growing feelings.
The feeling of Sugar's arms around me, the comfort and warmth of her presence, it's like a lifeline in the storm of emotions that threatens to drown me. The sobs begin to subside, my tears finally beginning to slow. I cling to her, desperate for any kind of comfort I can find. In this moment, I don't care about the tears streaming down my face or the pain and fear in my heart. All I care about is the girl holding me, her arms like a shield against the world. I tilt my head up, my eyes meeting hers. Our faces are so close together, our breath mingling as we sit there in the quiet solitude of the school courtyard. For a brief, terrifying second, I feel the overwhelming urge to lean in, to close the small distance between us, to do something that I know will change everything. But I hesitate. The memory of the confession I just made, the words I've just poured out, it hangs heavily in the air between us. I don't want to ruin this moment, this connection, with something so selfish.
As her heart thunders in her chest, Sugar hesitates for a moment, then takes the plunge. She leans in, gently brushing her lips against Paprika's. The kiss is soft, tender, but filled with all the unspoken words and feelings that had been growing between them for far too long. It's a brief moment of vulnerability and intimacy, a small respite from the storm of emotions they had been weathering together.
The feeling of her lips against mine is like a bolt of lightning to my senses. I freeze for a brief moment, shock and surprise mingling with a sudden rush of emotions I can't begin to understand. But then my mind starts to catch up, and I find myself responding to the kiss, my lips moving hesitantly against hers, my heart beating so loudly I can hear it in my ears. When she finally pulls back, I'm left stunned and breathless, my head spinning with confusion and wonder at what just happened.
As the kiss ends, Sugar pulls back slightly, her breath coming in short, shallow gasps as she looks into Paprika's eyes. The reality of what they've just done hangs heavy in the air between them, and for a moment, she's not sure what to say. Her mind is a whirlwind of emotions, swirling and colliding so fast and so intense that it's hard to hold on to any one thought. She swallows hard, trying to gather her scattered thoughts. She trails off, struggling to find the right words.
My heart is still racing, the kiss replaying over and over again in my mind like a broken record. I can't think straight, my thoughts and emotions a tangled mess in my head. I swallow hard, trying to find my voice, trying to piece together a coherent thought. What that was. I mean, I know what it was, but I finally give up, words failing me completely. I can only sit there staring at her, my eyes wide as I try to process what just happened.
Sugar can see the confusion and surprise still written all over Paprika's face, and her own heart constricts with guilt at how she just sprung the kiss on her. She takes a deep breath, forcing herself to speak despite the twisting in her gut. I need to tell you something important. She pauses, bracing herself for whatever response Paprika will have. This could go either way, and she's not sure which scares her more.
Seeing the serious, almost nervous expression on her face, I suddenly feel a surge of dread mixed with curiosity. Whatever she's about to say, it's clearly something important. What is it? I ask, my voice barely more than a whisper. In my mind, I can already feel the shape of the words she's about to say, and the thought causes a wave of both anticipation and anxiety to wash over me.
Sugar steels herself, forcing herself to meet Paprika's gaze directly, her words coming out in a rush. I have feelings for you. I mean, like romantic feelings. I've had them for a while now. I know we're friends and you might not feel the same way, and I don't want to mess up what we have, but I had to tell you. I couldn't keep it bottled up inside any longer. She holds her breath, waiting anxiously for Paprika's reaction, terrified of what she might say next.
I feel my heart skip a beat as her words hit me like a ton of bricks. I had sensed it, of course, the stolen glances, the little touches that lingered a bit too long, but hearing her say it out loud, to hear the confession spoken aloud, it's a whole different story. I stare at her, my thoughts and emotions warring inside me like a miniature storm. Shock, surprise, a hint of fear, and most alarmingly, a flutter of something almost like hope, all twisting together, making it impossible to speak.
Sugar can see the myriad of emotions running across Paprika's face, each fleeting expression like a punch to the gut. She knows the silence is an awful sign, but she forces herself to write it out, her heart thudding in her chest as minutes tick by like hours. Finally, unable to bear the silence any longer, she speaks up, her voice shaking a bit. Say something, please. Anything.
I can tell the silence is driving her up the wall, and part of me wants to just say something. Anything, to ease her anxiety. But another part, the one that's holding on tightly to my own fears and insecurities, seems to be paralyzing me, rendering me unable to speak. I don't know what to say. I didn't expect. The words come out in a mumbled mess, my voice cracking slightly under the strain of mixed emotions. I pause, taking a deep breath, trying to organize the maelstrom of thoughts churning in my mind. Finally, reluctantly, I force myself to continue. I'm flattered. I mean, it's a lot to take in. You're my best friend, and I treasure our friendship, you know? But this changes things. I don't want to ruin everything.
Sugar nods, her stomach twisting painfully at the thinly veiled rejection. She knew it was a long shot, but hearing Paprika confirm her fears still hurts more than she'd like to admit. She takes a deep breath to steady herself, trying to hide the disappointment from her voice. Yeah, I get it. Our friendship is important to me too. I needed to be honest with you about how I feel.
Seeing the look of disappointment on her face, the hurt that my words have clearly caused, hits me like a kick in the gut. I can't stand the sight of it, the thought that I've caused her pain by rejecting her feelings. On impulse, I suddenly lean forward and press a soft kiss against her forehead, the gesture almost automatic in my need to soothe the hurt in some small way.
The feel of Paprika's lips on her forehead is so unexpected and gentle that it steals Sugar's breath away for a moment. She looks up at Paprika, surprise written all over her face, her heart skipping a beat at the sight of the mix of tenderness and uncertainty in the other girl's eyes. She swallows hard, trying to get her thoughts in order through the sudden rush of emotion. Why did you do that? Sugar pulls Paprika close, wrapping her arms tightly around her. She buries her face in the crook of the other girl's shoulder, taking comfort in the warmth of her embrace. I'm sorry. I know you don't feel the same way, and it hurts, but I'll get over it. I don't want to lose our friendship. Her voice is muffled by Paprika's shirt, but she hopes the other girl can still make out what she's saying.
Feeling of her wrapped around me, the vulnerable tremble in her voice, it's like a punch to the gut. I cling to her, my arms wrapping around her as tightly as I can, my fingers digging into the fabric of her shirt. No, don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong.
I'm so confused right now. I don't want to lose our friendship either. The words come out in a rush, my voice almost pleading. I can feel the tears prickling at the corners of my eyes again, but I blink them away. We part ways reluctantly, the evening twilight falling around us like a cloak. I wave goodbye to Sugar with a tentative smile, my heart still thudding in my chest as I watch her disappear into the shadows. The walk home is quiet and contemplative, my mind a jumble of thoughts and emotions that I can't begin to make sense of. The silence in the house is almost deafening as I enter, my footsteps echoing slightly on the hardwood floors. I make my way upstairs to my room, the cool air of the house making me shiver slightly. A part of me just wants to collapse onto my bed and sleep, but I know I won't be able to shut off my thoughts that easily. I change into a soft, baggy shirt and a pair of sweatpants, the familiar comfort of my clothing doing nothing to soothe the storm of confusion and anxiety that's swirling inside me. I collapse on my bed, the soft comforter enveloping me like a cloud as I stare up at the ceiling.
I toss on my favorite baggy shirt, the soft fabric feeling like a familiar comfort against my skin. The days since my conversation with Sugar have passed in a haze, my thoughts still muddled and conflicted, my emotions still at war inside me. Today is Saturday, a day with no school, no structure, just endless hours to fill however I please.
I sit on the edge of my bed, the familiar sight of the scars on my arms staring back at me like a silent reminder of the pain and turmoil that still linger inside me. I've seen them so often now that they've almost become like a part of my body. Yet the sight still sends a pang of shame and sadness through me each time I glance down. I take a deep breath, steeling myself against the maelstrom of emotions that still churn just beneath the surface.
I need a break, a distraction, something to take my mind off everything, if only for a little while. With slow, deliberate steps, I make my way downstairs.
The next day is Saturday, and the first thing I think about as I wake up is you. I sit up and rub my eyes, my mind going over everything that happened the previous day. I think about your cut cheek and the red mark on it, and feel the anger beginning to rise again at the thought of someone hurting you, but I try to push it aside as I get out of bed and start making my way downstairs.
My mom rises from bed with a tired sigh, her thoughts immediately going to the previous day's events. The sight of me with a cut cheek is still fresh in her mind, and the anger bubbling inside her threatens to spill over once again at the thought of someone taking a swing at me. But she pushes the anger aside, taking a deep breath as she makes her way towards the stairs, determination etched on her face. I make my way down the stairs, each step echoing softly in the quiet of the early morning. The cool air of the house causes me to shiver slightly, the only sound in the room being the soft ticking of the clock on the wall and the distant sound of cars outside.
I hear movement coming from the stairs, my ears perking up at the sound of footsteps growing closer. I step into the hallway and watch as you make your way down the steps, my heart aching slightly as I see you shiver from the cool air of the house. Good morning, sweetie. Did you sleep well?
I look up as I reach the last few steps, my eyes meeting yours as you step into the hallway. A pang of guilt runs through me at the sight of genuine concern in your eyes, the knowledge that I've worried you gnawing at me like a dull ache inside. Morning, Mom. Yeah, I slept fine. I reply, the lie rolling off my tongue easily, even though I know you probably won't believe me. I cringe internally as I see the doubt flicker across your face, knowing that I'm not fooling you. I nod weakly, letting out a small sigh as I make my way over to where you're standing. The thought of talking about it makes my stomach twist with unease, but I know I can't avoid it forever. Fine. What did you want to talk about?
I see the flicker of unease in your eyes as you sit down next to me, knowing that you're dreading having this conversation, but also knowing that it's important to talk about nonetheless. I take a deep breath, my voice gentle but firm as I start to speak. Sweetie, I know you don't want to talk about it, but we have to. You were hurt the other day at school, and I need to know what happened.
I let out another sigh, the sound heavy with resignation. I know I'm not going to get out of this, no matter how much I might want to. All right, I'll tell you.
But you're not gonna like it. Promise you won't freak out?
I listen intently as you begin to explain what happened, my heart twisting as you describe how the other student had been bothering you and calling you names. My hands grip each other a bit tightly, my knuckles turning white as I struggle to keep my anger in check. I stay quiet for a moment, trying to compose myself before speaking, my voice trembling slightly with restrained anger. What names was she calling you?
I shrink a bit under your intense gaze, my heart thudding in my chest at the barely restrained anger in your voice. I hesitate for a moment, knowing that the answer is going to just make you angrier, but knowing I can't lie about it either. Just some names that aren't nice. I look away as I speak, avoiding your gaze, not wanting to see the anger and disappointment in your eyes. Freak. The word leaves my mouth in a whisper, the sting of the old familiar insult still fresh like a raw wound. My voice is trembling slightly as I speak, the memory of the pain and humiliation of that constant barrage of cruel words still aching inside me. I can feel the tears prickling at the corners of my eyes as I repeat the other name she called me, the word still ringing in my ears like a cruel echo. Yeah. And then called me a lesbian. The pain in my voice is impossible to miss, the hurt clear in my every word. I still can't quite bring myself to look at you, my head hanging low as I continue to stare at the floor in shame.
My heart clenches painfully as you whisper that awful word, freak. My anger flaring up even more at how much it clearly still hurts you. I can hear the tears in your voice as you speak, the hurt and humiliation evident in every word. And then you say the other term she called you, and my heart sinks even further, a mixture of anger and sadness washing over me. She called you what? She called you that horrible word?
I can feel the tears starting to fall now, the words coming out in a choked sob as I repeat what she called me once again. She called me a lesbian, and my voice trails off, the humiliation of admitting that she'd called me such a hateful word still weighing heavily on me. I wipe at my eyes, trying to hide the tears that are now streaming down my face, but failing miserably.
I watch as you start to cry, the tears streaming freely down your face as you struggle to speak. The sound of that hateful word coming out of your mouth breaks my heart even more, and I want nothing more than to go find the girl who called you that and give her a piece of my mind. I pull you into a tight hug, wrapping my arms around you and holding you close, my voice full of anger and hurt as I speak, sweetie. Why would she call you that? Why would she say such a horrible, hateful thing to you?
I cling to you desperately as you hug me, my body shaking with silent sobs as the pain and humiliation come crashing down on me like a wave. I don't know. I don't know why she would say that. I don't know why she hates me so much. My voice is choked and tear-filled, the words coming out between sobs and hitching breaths. I bury my face in your shoulder, taking comfort in your embrace, hating how weak and vulnerable I feel.
I hold you tightly in my arms, feeling your body shaking with sobs as you cling to me like a lifeline. My heart wrenches painfully as I hear how broken and vulnerable you sound, hating how hurt and confused you are. I stroke your back gently, my hand rubbing soothing circles as I speak in a soothing tone. Shh, it's okay. It's okay, sweetie. I'm here, baby.
Your soothing words and gentle hand in my hair help me to calm down slightly. The steady beat of your heart against my cheek, a comfort in the wake of the whirlwind of emotions that's been tearing me apart. I take a shaky breath, still clinging to you, unable to fully let go just yet. Then why do I feel like like there's something wrong with me? Why does she hate me so much?
I continue to hold you close, rubbing your back soothingly and trying to give you all the comfort and support you need in this moment. I can feel your heart still racing and the tears still fresh on your cheeks as you cling to me, your words choked and filled with pain. Oh, sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect just the way you are. Some people are just hurt, and they take their hurt out on others. That's not your fault. I tighten my arms around you as I see tears spilling down your cheeks again, my heart breaking further as I realize just how much this has affected you. I speak your name again, my voice filled with love and compassion. Paprika. Look at me, sweetie. Look at me.
I hesitantly lift my head from your shoulder at the sound of my name, my eyes meeting yours in a watery mess of tears and hurt.
I gently lift your head up from my shoulder, looking into your eyes and seeing the tears still flowing down your cheeks. I carefully reach over and gently place your glasses back on your face, my hand gently caressing your cheek as I do. There you go. Look at me, sweetheart. I need you to look at me and listen to what I am about to say. I hold your chin gently, looking into your eyes intently as I speak, sweetie. I want you to listen to me. Okay? Can you do that for me? I can see that you've nodded, and I take a deep breath to gather my thoughts before speaking, sweetie. You need to understand something. That girl's words, they don't define you, okay? They don't define who you are, and they don't define your worth. You are an amazing human being, and nothing the girl or anyone else says can ever change that. You understand what I'm saying, right?
I listen in silence as you talk, my eyes widening slightly as you wipe the tears away and carefully place my glasses back on. Your words cut through the maelstrom of conflicting emotions that are still swirling inside me, offering a beacon of hope and comfort in the midst of the darkness. Your hand on my cheek is a warm and comforting presence, the gentle caress sending a wave of calm through my shaken body. I nod slowly, my voice a broken whisper. I understand.
I softly caress your cheek as you confirm that you understand what I'm saying, my heart swelling with love and pride at your strength and resilience. I speak gently, my voice filled with compassion and reassurance. Good, that's good, sweetheart. You may not believe it right now, but what that girl said doesn't matter. Her words don't define you, and they don't dictate your worth. You're an amazing person, Paprika, and don't ever let anyone make you forget that.
I listen intently to your words, the softness of your voice and the firmness of your reassurance slowly seeping into my heart and soul.
Despite my own doubts and insecurities, I can feel a glimmer of hope beginning to burn inside me, a flicker of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, you're right. But what if she's right?
I can see the doubt creeping in, the fear and insecurity taking hold once again in your eyes as you question the words I've spoken. I take a deep breath, my voice firm but not unkind as I respond. But what if she's not? What if she's wrong, sweetie? Do you really want to give her that kind of power over you? To believe her lies and let her shape how you see yourself?
Your words ring true, cutting through the doubt and uncertainty in my mind like a hot knife through butter. I realize that you are right, that giving in to her words and letting them shape how I see myself is giving her exactly what she wants, giving her the power to destroy me from the inside out. I take a shaky breath, my voice a little stronger, a little more certain as I speak. No, I don't want to give her that power.
I can see the realization in your eyes, the way your voice grows stronger and more certain as you speak, and I breathe a silent sigh of relief. I smile softly, my hand still gently caressing your cheek as I continue to speak. That's my girl. You're strong, Paprika. Stronger than she could ever dream of being. Don't you forget that?
I can feel a wave of warmth spread through me at the sound of your praise, your words settling over me like a comforting blanket. Your gentle touch on my cheek grounds me, giving me a sense of stability and comfort amidst the whirlwind of emotions and thoughts still raging inside me. I take a deep breath, letting your words sink in, the doubt slowly fading away in the face of your acceptance and love. I won't forget.
I hold your gaze, my smile growing a little wider as I see the doubt and worry starting to melt away, replaced by a glimmer of confidence and self-belief. Good. I'm glad you won't forget, because you need to remember that you're amazing just the way you are. You don't need to change a thing, sweetheart. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay?
I nod slowly, my body relaxing as your reassurance washes over me. The knot of fear and uncertainty that had been coiled tight in my stomach starts to loosen, replaced by a sense of peace and acceptance. For the first time in a while, I truly believe in your words, and I know that I don't have to bend and twist myself to fit someone else's mold. Okay, I won't let anyone tell me otherwise. I follow you over to the kitchen, the lingering weight of the conversation still on my mind. However, the feeling of your unwavering support has lifted a huge burden from my shoulders, and I now feel strangely light and free. So, what's for breakfast?
I lead you to the kitchen, still keeping a protective arm around your shoulders as we walk. I can sense that the conversation is still on your mind, but the weight of the world no longer seems to be crushing you like it was before. How about some pancakes? Does that sound good to you?
I lean into your protective arm, a small smile tugging at the corners of my mouth as I realize just how much more relaxed I feel now. Pancakes sound good. And with extra maple syrup, please.
I squeeze you gently against me, a warm sense of pride filling my chest as I see the smile on your face and feel you relax a bit more. My own smile widens as you request extra maple syrup, and I chuckle softly. Extra syrup it is. And extra whipped cream too, just the way you like it.
The image of pancakes dripping in syrup and drowning in whipped cream brings a genuine smile to my face for the first time in quite a while. I let out a small laugh as I imagine the mess the whipped cream will make. Yeah, make sure there's extra whipped cream. You know I can't resist that stuff. As days turn into weeks and weeks turn into a month, A sense of normalcy starts to settle over our lives once more. I continue going to school and things have been quiet recently, so the memory of that awful day has started to fade. Until one day, something terrible happens. The news hits us like a ton of bricks. The shocking announcement sending a wave of disbelief and horror through my body. I can hardly believe that such a terrible thing could have happened to our family, and my mind immediately starts to race with questions and worry.
I lie in the hospital bed, feeling weak and miserable. The pain from the missing kidney is a constant reminder of my current situation. The medications they're giving me help dull the pain, but they also make me feel groggy and disoriented.
I visit Cinnamon at the hospital, immediately taken aback by his sickly and frail appearance. The sight of him lying there in the hospital bed, surrounded by tubes and monitors, is a painful sight to behold, and my heart clenches at the sight of his pale and exhausted face.
The nurse enters Cinnamon's room carrying a clipboard and a pen. She notices Cinnamon's weak and pale appearance and approaches his bed with a concerned expression on her face. "Good morning, Cinnamon. I'm Nurse Smith. How are you feeling today?"
I manage a weak smile in response to the nurse's greeting. My voice is hoarse and tired as I reply, "Morning. I'm alright, I guess. Still pretty weak and, to be honest, in a fair bit of pain."
Mr. Salt's expression immediately softens upon seeing his son in such a condition. Mon Dieu.
I nod weakly, struggling to sit up a bit in the bed. Yeah, it's not ideal, but hey, I'm alive, right? I attempt a small chuckle, but it quickly turns into a cough.
He quickly walks over to the bed, a look of concern etched on his features. "Oh, my dear Cinnamon, you shouldn't be making jokes in your condition. It'll make that cough worse."
Cinnamon's weak joke fails to alleviate the tension in the room, and the sound of his cough hangs in the air like a terrible omen. I can practically feel the worry and stress emanating off of my family, their faces etched with worry and exhaustion.
I watch as Cinnamon attempts a weak chuckle, only to have it turn into a cough. I wince slightly at the sound, my heart heavy at the sight of him struggling to even sit up in bed. I can feel the tension in the room growing thicker as his cough hangs in the air. The sound a grim reminder of the seriousness of his condition. My eyes dart anxiously between him and the rest of my family, their faces etched with worry and exhaustion, the weight of their emotions palpable.
The nurse gives a small, sympathetic smile, adjusting her glasses as she looks through the medical chart at the foot end of the bed. "It's good to see you have a sense of humor, even in these circumstances." She reaches out a hand to check his pulse, her fingers finding his wrist. "How's the pain? Are you comfortable enough?"
I wince slightly as the nurse checks my pulse, but try to remain still. The pain is manageable, I guess. The medication they've got me on does help a bit, but it's still pretty uncomfortable, and I just feel so weak all the time. I let out a weary sigh, my eyes closing briefly. I take a deep breath, summoning up some strength before continuing. "Nurse, there's something I wanted to ask you if you have a moment." I meet the nurse's gaze, my expression earnest. "I've been thinking about my kidney. I know I've got only one left and it's obviously doing an important job, but I was wondering something. Would it be possible for me to donate my other kidney?" I pause, waiting for her response, my heart pounding in my chest. Is there anybody on the waiting list in need of a kidney transplant?
The room is filled with a heavy silence as we all absorb Cinnamon's words, the enormity of his selfless act weighing on us. My heart aches at the thought of him going through life with just one functioning kidney, but I also can't help but feel a surge of admiration for his selflessness and bravery. I can feel the rest of my family looking at me with a mix of confusion and concern, but I ignore them, my focus solely on Cinnamon. I take a deep breath, my voice firm and resolute. "Cinnamon, I want to give you my kidney."
Your words hit me like a ton of bricks and I sit up a little straighter in bed, my eyes widening. "Paprika, no, you can't. That's too much." I struggle to find the words, torn between gratitude and concern. "The last thing I want is for you to potentially suffer the same way I am right now." I feel my heart twist in my chest at the determination in your voice. I know that look and I know there's no changing your mind. "Paprika, you don't understand. It's a big surgery, it's dangerous. And you would only have one kidney too, just like me. I pause, my voice quieting. I can't let you do that for me. I shake my head slightly, my brow furrowing in concern. It's not just about the surgery, Paprika. You'd be losing a kidney. Your body needs both its kidneys to properly function. If something happens to my other kidney, you'd be in the same boat as me. I take a deep breath, trying to find the right words. I can't let you sacrifice yourself like that for me. I let out a weary sigh, running a hand through my hair. I can see the determination in your eyes, and I know there's no stopping you now, but what if something goes wrong? What if something happens during the surgery, or if there are complications afterwards? I can't bear the thought of you getting hurt because of me. My heart sinks as the nurse nods in agreement, confirming that the surgery is going to happen. I close my eyes briefly, trying to process this information. I know there's no point in arguing further. All right. If you're really sure about this, then I won't stop you. Just promise me one thing. Promise me you'll be okay.
Mr. Salt watches the exchange between you and your sister in silence, his heart torn between gratitude and concern. However, he also understands the depth of your love and determination to help each other. He interrupts the conversation, his voice soft yet firm. Paprika, while your gesture is incredibly selfless and admirable, you must understand the seriousness of what you're proposing. Losing a kidney is no small thing, and it could potentially put your own health at risk. Are you truly prepared for the consequences of such a decision?
I meet my father's gaze, my expression firm and resolute. I understand the gravity of what I'm suggesting, but my mind is made up, and nothing will shake my determination. I understand the risks, Dad, but I can't just sit here and do nothing while Cinnamon lies here in pain. If I can help him by giving him one of my kidneys, then I'll do it. Consequences be damned.
Mr. Salt studies your face, recognizing the unwavering conviction in your eyes. He can see that no amount of reasoning will change your mind. He sighs reluctantly, his expression reflecting a mix of pride and concern. Very well, but you must understand that I will be here every step of the way, supporting and worrying for both of you. This is a huge decision, and I won't let either of you face it alone. Mr. Salt wraps his arms around you and hugs you tightly, feeling a mix of emotions swirling within him. He is proud of your courage and love for your brother, but he cannot help but worry for both of you. He murmurs softly in your ears, "Thank you, my child. Your love and determination are truly remarkable. Just please be careful. I can't imagine losing either of you."
I return my dad's hug, feeling the mixture of pride and worry radiating off of him. I pull back slightly, my voice steady as I respond. Don't worry, Dad. I'll make sure to take care of myself. And besides, I've seen the way modern medicine has advanced. The success rate on kidney transplants is really high these days.